Guys, if you're 30 years old, you take 2,500 bucks, open an IRA, and you put $5,000 a year in there until you're like 65 years old. You got just shy of $1 million bucks. You got like 970,000 bucks. Here's the crazy thing. You start that when you're 25, that 970,000 becomes $1.4 million. Guys, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. So I just want to encourage everybody to take a hard look at what you're doing to truly pay yourself first, invest in your future, and start those daily disciplines that it takes to get you to a point where you're not, like Steve, you've always talked about, where you're not, relying on a government check or having to frickin' eat dog food when you're 70 years old. This is not complicated. This is not difficult. In fact, one of my friends is a financial advisor. He told me about a guy who never made more than $45,000 a year. He was a janitor at Caterpillar, walked into my buddy's financial planning office. The guy worked there 35, 40 years and had $2.7 million in some account, because all he did was he took 15, 20% of his income for 30, 40 years and he invested it. And now the guy's a multimillionaire and he never made more than 40, 45 grand a year. Guys, you don't have to be a multi-six-figure earner to be able to have the freedom that you want to have financially down the road. So that was really, in light of me going home, it was a good reminder for me to keep showing up, keep grinding every day, keep doing the things that are absolutely going to, get me to where I want. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys here for a few minutes.
So I'm 62, and Tom, I consider Tom my peer, right? But Tom's mom is only 3 years older than me. I got brothers and sisters older than Tom's mother. So I asked Tom, how is my mindset different or the same as your mother's mindset? And that's all I asked him, and then Tom just said, oh my God, it's night and day. How many of you do not have jack retirement? We got 85 people on the call, which is awesome. And this is going to be hard to put in there. You really don't have jack saved up for yourself in retirement. Come on, man. I'm not going to remember this. I want to know. I want you to know. I want to know if you can stand up, look in the mirror and go, you know what? I don't have my together. Because understanding you don't have your together is the first step to getting your together. Okay? And I was having good conversations today, and he reminded me of something that I said earlier, that basically by the time you're 44 years old, if you don't have your together, then you are really screwed, because nobody else wants you. See, nobody wants to hire anybody after they're 44 years old and invest a lot of money and time into training, because they already think you're done. You're over the hill. Now, if you got your own business and you're an entrepreneur, then you got to depend on yourself. But basically from 44 till about 60 or so, call it 44 to 64, that 20-year window, that's your prime earning years. And so you have to have your act together by then, or you are going to be living on government assistance and eating dog food when you grow up or when you get there. I don't want you to be eating dog food. So this is a time to get your shit together. You can get it together, but you need to step up to the plate and start putting some money away. Anyway, so that triggered this whole kind of thing. So it's funny, this next slide I have coming up here is what in the hell are you doing today to get where you want to go? So it was this Whoopi Goldberg was telling a story I heard, I don't even know where. I heard that she was surrounded by a whole bunch of people and they all said they wanted to be an actor, right? And she said, great. Did you ever go out for your drama, class in high school? No. Did you ever go out for the drama club anywhere? No. Did you ever go and work at a dinner theater anywhere? No. Have you ever taken acting lessons or anything like that to see what it's all about. No, that she says, then you don't really want to be an actor. You just want to be famous. And it was Bobby Knight that said everybody wants to be a winner, but nobody wants to do what you got to do to become a winner. So I'm asking you, and this is when you better pull out a mirror and look hard. What are you actually doing today? What are you doing today to get where you want to go? You figure out where that is. Do you even have a plan? Do you even know? Do you even know how much money you got to have saved up to retire one day? Do you know that? There's 84 people now on the call. I guess 85 dropped off because they already know this. Do you know your magic number? Do you know your retirement date? Do you know how much money you need to retire to live the life you want to live? If you don't know all that, I've been through this a dozen times. It's not that difficult to find out, okay? But you need to do something every single day to get there. All right? It's called retirement. It's called profit sharing. It's called 401ks. It's called living below your means. It's called a whole lot of, but you got to basically give up a little bit of instant gratification and delay that gratification for 20 years, let's say, so you do get to wake up and be in the position that I'm in right now. All right? I didn't read a goddamn book or go to some seminar and sitting up here talking to you. Mastermind people heard me say a lot and they're tired of it. I'm just telling you what I did for the last 40 years and where it got me. Do you know that I really started making big ass money in my day. It was somewhere around 19, late 80s. I was making big, big money, over $1 million a year in today's money. In today's money with my first company. And I hired a really smart man who claimed to have 18% return on investment over the last 20 years. I hired his ass for $50 an hour to teach me all about the stock market. Now, that's probably $200 today an hour. I'm paying somebody to teach me. And when he first started teaching me, he'd come over to my house and I would fall asleep because it was so boring. Oh my God, it was boring. Even when I put fake money in and pretended like I was buying stocks and stuff, it was boring. You know when it got exciting? I started putting real money. You put 50, 100, 200, half a million, $1 million in the stock market, and your ass is sleeping no more. Trust me. So I'm just telling you, there's something I did. I did today. Then I hired a guy and paid him to teach me the stock market because I realized, okay, I'm making some money. How do I make my money make me money? So now I'm getting two paychecks, one from me working and one from the money that I've saved up that's making me money. How many of you are getting two paychecks out there? One that you're working for and one that you're not working for. How many of you have your money making you money? This is a goal, folks, by the way. I'm getting off of what I'm talking about, but I only get one response. 83
Hey,
people on the
Steve.
call, and I'm getting one
Steve,
response.
I want to also be clear that it doesn't, the answer to that question doesn't have to be like, you don't have to have a big paycheck of money making you money, right? If you have, if you're able to put 25 or $50 or whatever a week into some sort of Roth IRA or investment thing, and it's making you frickin' $1 a week, you have money making you money. And I know what you're after here is helping people have the discipline to create the right habits, because whatever habits you create now with whatever amount of money you have, you're going to have those habits at a larger level later on.
Yes, you got to start somewhere. And to give you hope with all this stuff, even if you're totally in the shit with all this right now, you just start with $1. That's how Net started this whole Money Monday thing. She just started putting $100 a week away, like Tom said earlier, $100 a week. And I don't even know if Net's on the call right now. And Net Ross, you can put in the chat box. I'm sure you're pretty open. This thing, when you used to have zero, and it started with $100 a week, and I think it's only 2.5 years old. If you would put in the chat box, Net, how much money that account's worth today? Because this thing is taking a life of its own onward. So if she chooses to and puts that in the check box, but I bet it's over $100,000 she has in the bank.
I wonder if Net still actually physically goes to the bank, because I know she was doing that. She had made it a thing. It wasn't just like direct deposit or anything like that. She would go and physically deposit the money.
All right. So I get off on these tangents, and the people at the, the rich people, you may not know that, but I do have a very relevant thing because all of us deal with sales. All of us deal with sales slumps, of which I went through one of the biggest sales slumps I've ever had in my 18 years in the pawn business this past spring. And just in case you don't know, my last name is Shinholzer, and I'm actually the Shin in Shin Fu. So when the guy who has a funky thing, sales technique named after him, has a sales problem, a sales slump, you know it's a problem. So I went, man, I got hundreds and hundreds of leads this year. 80% of the people told me no. They all loved what I had, but man, they were not willing to pay what I wanted money wise because I demand 50% profit margin or greater. And I'm not going out if I don't make that. So I have to just let them all go. But even me, I get beat up enough. I start to lose my confidence. I start to lose my psyche. I start to even question, Jesus Christ, should I lower my price? Am I not having the empathy I need on the phone? Do I need to go back to practicing role play because I'm sucking at it right now? And I lived all this openly in front of my group, the mastermind group, and with Tom and with Derek. And I knew a couple of things. I've been around just long enough to know that